Now, admittedly, some of the following outings didn't ultimately go on to bring home universal acclaim or change the landscape of cinema forever, and a few of the flicks to come haven't even arrived in theaters yet. But there's still no denying that the first glimpses of each and every one of these movies helped ease the fears of those who initially assumed the picture in question would be an inevitable failure, even if only for a little while. So I am Gareth here from WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 movies you were dreading before you saw the trailer. Number 10, Ant-Man. Yeah, Ant-Man? Serious? I won't watch it. Lame. That was just one of the many comments unleashed by some truly baffled corners of the MCU fanbase back when Kevin Feige and the gang announced their second phase back in 2012. One that came equipped with the feature debut of Scott Lang's Ant-Man. Marvel Studios were really opting to throw an ant-sized superhero into the mix before the likes of a Black Panther, Moon Knight, or Doctor Strange? Yes, they were, and from the moment Paul Rudd's thieving eventual Avenger rocked up on screen for the first time during the Phase 2 Flicks trailer, it quickly became clear why a pint-sized story was the perfect call for the burgeoning MCU. Blending genuinely hilarious and effortlessly charming humor with some of the most creative action the franchise have produced so far, the balmy concept of Lang commanding an army of ants and transforming a Thomas the Tank Engine set into a chaotic battleground was the gift just about nobody honestly saw coming. And sure enough, this small chunk of pitch-perfect footage convinced many a doubter to take a chance on the biggest little guy in the MCU, with the brilliant Ant-Man going on to bring home millions at the box office and earning some particularly strong reviews too. The same could not be said for Quantumania. Number 9, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. After the somewhat underwhelming adventure that was the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull back in 2008, you'd struggle to find a single Indiana Jones lover that wasn't even just a little bit apprehensive about the idea of Harrison Ford dusting off his fedora and whip for one last crack at going out on a high. And not even the masterful James Mangold being attached as the incoming flick's director could completely squash the feeling of dread that continued to grow as Indy 5's release date crept closer and closer. But then the Dial of Destiny's first trailer dropped in December, and in just under 2 minutes, Ford, Mangold, and the rest of the team involved with this Jones comeback reminded fans why you can never count out the most famous archaeologist in cinema history, bringing a whip to a gunfight, thumping Nazis in the face, and even finding a way to de-age the icon himself in a way that doesn't instantly pull you out of the action. Mangold may just be onto a winner with Ford's final outing as the legendary figure if the finished flick can replicate the feeling of watching this wholly satisfying trailer for 2 whole hours. Number 8, Thor Ragnarok. Back before the zany and multi-talented Taika Waititi was one of the most in-demand directors working in the business today, the New Zealander being attached to direct the third solo Thor film didn't exactly alleviate the fears surrounding yet another potential damp swib of a God of Thunder outing. That may be a little harsh on Kenneth Branagh's debuting of the Asgardian back in 2011. The Dark World, though, still ranks as one of the most disappointing nothing entries in MCU history, making the follow-up Ragnarok a film most weren't really all that hopeful for back when it was announced as being part of Phase 3 in October 2014. And then the teaser for Waititi's balmy revamp of all things Thor burst onto the scene in April 2017. Gone was the dark and bland all-round tone that had infected much of Thor's time in this universe. In its place was a vibrant and much-needed refresh of both the leading figure and type of story he found himself at the center of, and the official trailer only doubled down on the irreverent humor, jaw-dropping visuals, and epic needle drops, fully taking a hammer to any and all worries folks once had about this godly threequel. Number 7, Man of Steel. A decent amount of backlash was sent Zack Snyder's way around the time he was officially confirmed to be the person bringing what would later become the first ever DCEU entry into the world. But it's likely that even some of the most vocal of anti-Snyder fans out there struggle to sit through Man of Steel's eventual trailers without getting a little bit hyped for the super flick to come. The third trailer in particular is about as perfect a 3-minute ride as you're ever likely to witness, kicking things off with the gorgeously captured fall of Krypton, accompanied by Russell Crowe's Jor-El telling us how his son will be a god to the humans on Earth. It is frankly impossible not to find yourself getting entirely invested in Henry Cavill's Kal-El/Clark Kent as his life briefly unfolds throughout the captivating short film of a trailer. Hans Zimmer's iconic score rumbling on, out-of-this-world flight sequences, and just the right amount of hope sprinkled into the darkness. There's no denying that Snyder & Co. emphatically stuck the landing with this teaser footage. Number 6, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. It's been a rough few years for fans of those robots in disguise, with just about every live-action outing for the likes of Optimus Prime and the rest of the Autobots and Decepticons, except for the first Transformers and Bumblebee of course, not really offering much outside of a few jumbled robo-fights and boatloads of childish comedy. But that aforementioned awesome spin-off prequel centered around the lovable yellow Autobot did actually bring with it a flicker of hope for the future. And despite possessing the rather soiled Transformers name once again, the Rise of the Beast sequel to that Bumble Blast actually appears to be sticking closer to what made its predecessor such a breath of fresh air. During its first full teaser, anxious fans were relieved to find that Stephen Cable Jr. has seemingly fully embraced the Beast Wars storyline and toys Rise of the Beast was largely inspired by. The reveals of the Maximals, including the badass-looking Optimus Primal, Air Razor and Cheetor, sweet infusing of Biggie Smalls It Was All a Dream, more cartoon-accurate bots, and some genuinely gripping action set pieces, all look like promising signs that the live-action Transformers series may have some joyous life left in it yet. Number 5. Terminator Dark Fate. The Terminator series has seen its stock drop more with each subsequent follow-up in the time since Judgment Day took the world by storm in 1991. So few were honestly expecting much from 2019's Dark Fate, even with the return of James Cameron in the writing room and Deadpool director Tim Miller guiding Linda Hamilton's Terminator comeback as Sarah Connor into theaters. You could hardly blame them after being thoroughly burned by the likes of Salvation and Genesis, right? Seeing Connor unloading a rocket launcher on the latest advanced Terminator in the film's first teaser, whilst trying to aid Natalia Reyes and Mackenzie Davis's Danny Ramos and Grace respectively, evoked waves of glorious nostalgia however. And that action-packed and undeniably intriguing early footage, also boasting a returning Arnold Schwarzenegger, made many feel as though the series was finally set for a return to the form of its initial first two outings. And while Dark Fate wasn't perfect by any means, it was a vast improvement on the sequels that came before it, even if it came equipped with one of the most controversial opening sequences of modern times. Still not over it. Number 4. The Matrix Resurrections. 2021 saw the long-awaited return of Keanu Reeves as Neo alongside Carrie-Anne Moss's Trinity in The Matrix Resurrections. The confirmation of the likes of Hugo Weaving and Lawrence Fishburne not being along for this fourquel ride did leave some worrying about what was set to come in Lana Wachowski's rebooting of the system though, and trying to recapture the magic of a series that had lost a great deal of its steam by the time Revolutions dropped in 2003 felt like a pretty tall order in all honesty. And while that would eventually prove to be the case by the time the flick landed in theaters, with Resurrections being something of a divisive feature in the end, the film's first trailer definitely suggested that something rather special was about to enter the Matrix. Utterly gorgeous from start to finish, Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit brilliantly complemented the relentlessly stylish fistfights, compelling first looks at Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and Jessica Henwick's Morpheus and Bugs, and Reeves and Moss picking right back up where they left off in their iconic all-black get-ups. Simply put, the red pill was well and truly swallowed after this official trailer. Number 3. Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. The all-round disaster that was 2000's live-action D&D adaptation, and what would become a hugely forgettable trilogy, left an eternally sour taste in die-hard fans of the game and the average moviegoer. So expectations were at an all-time low by the time Honor Among Thieves' first trailer popped up online in July 2022. Far from being just a lazy attempt to squeeze every drop of cash possible out of a well-known IP though, the Chris Pine starring reboot actually looked, well, good. Great in fact. The digital effects used to realize the many mythical beasts D&D lovers routinely have to overcome seemed strong enough, but it's in the central group of ragtag heroes that the real magic appeared to lie. With the likes of Michelle Rodriguez, Regé-Jean Page, Justice Smith, and Sophia Lillis all being given a moment to shine in the frequently absurd footage, campy explosions of action and tons of all-important fun left those watching on with no choice but to give Honor Among Thieves a chance. And with the film now earning rave reviews, it looks like Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley may have finally made a film both D&D and general movie fans can fully get lost in. Number 2. The Super Mario Bros. Movie. Sitting as one of the most controversial pieces of casting of modern times, the call to have Chris Pratt voice the leading Italian plumber in Universal Pictures/Illumination's animated adaptation of the Super Mario Bros. Video game left many instantly feeling a little put off by the latest big screen take on the Nintendo legend. Also, the last time a big studio attempted to give Mario the movie treatment, one of the most underwhelming, much-loved game adaptations of all time became a soul-crushing thing in 1993. But in opting to head down a much more faithful route this time around, The first teaser and official trailer for Mario and Pal's return to the cinematic stage finally gave fans a reason to get a little excited about a potentially not so terrible dive into the Mushroom Kingdom. After wisely choosing to keep from overexposing Pratt's highly scrutinized Mario voice, the attention was instead brilliantly shifted over to the beautifully animated world that had been brought to life under the direction of Aaron Hovarth and Michael Jelenic. Jack Black having a damn blast in fully hammed up Bowser mode, well-executed moments of genuine hilarity, and absolutely spectacular bursts of colourful action. Not even Pratt's divisive wahoo could derail this triumph of a teaser spin around Rainbow Road. Maybe it's gonna be alright after all, eh? Number 1. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. You've likely spotted a reoccurring theme throughout this particular collection of once dreaded features. If fans have had to endure a number of subpar or just plain dreadful entries from a franchise, there's a solid chance those same folks aren't going to be all that enthusiastic about the concept of spending time in that world again anytime soon. And with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series being dragged through the live-action mud in recent times, you can't really blame TMNT diehards for being somewhat hesitant to embrace a new animated take on all things turtle. Clearly taking animation inspiration from the universally celebrated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse flick though, the Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg produced latest spin on the wisecracking unit almost instantly erased all memories of those god-awful Michael Bay produced monstrosities, oozing, well, ooze, a seemingly limitless supply of charm, and legitimately riotous references to the titular brothers resembling another famous green icon. The chaotic star-studded first look at the fresh new dose of mutant mayhem feels like it has all the makings of a marvelously fun coming-of-age feature that few will want to miss in August 2023. Cowabunga dude indeed. And that's our list. Of any other movies you were dreading before you saw the trailer? Well, let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're at it. Also, if you like this sort of stuff, then please head on over to whatculture.com and find some more fantastic articles just like the one this video you're watching right this second is based on. I have been the always dreaded Gareth from whatculture.com. Thank you as always for watching this wonderful video today. Hopefully I'll see your pretty faces rather soon, but in the meantime, just be good to yourself. Bye bye!